Okay, shop update. These are some chokers that my landlord gave to me. Now, as you can see, they're braided cables or cable chokers. Um, Actually, one of them is a coated one, a plastic coated one. Actually, two of them are plastic coated. The smaller ones are like 3/4, half ton, depending on how you choke it. The bigger one is like a ton and a half, a ton and a half or 1 ton, again, depending on how you choke this stuff. Um, Not really sure what I'm going to do with them. I probably could use them. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with them yet. The other thing that I was kind of doing, and this has been an ongoing process, I have all of these drops that I have from fabrication. Kind of what I was thinking about doing is I've got this metal table here. I'm not even sure where that metal table came from. If it was one of I might have bought that off of Craigslist, or it might have came from an auction. I'm really not sure yet right now where that table came from. But anyways, regardless, I use it to, it's kind of sitting by the bandsaw, or this bandsaw right now. And it becomes a drop place for drops. It's also where the chop saw is, and I've got the Whitney punch sitting on there too. But what I was thinking is taking that stuff that's underneath it, and those are just dead cases. I mean, cases that angle grinders came in, and that drill, that Black & Decker drill, is no good. Getting rid of that stuff and making like a shelf or a cubby type arrangement underneath there where I can put drops, short drops, making enough of them where I can separate like short pieces of angle iron or short pieces of tube steel, square tube steel, or even bar drops that I have laying around. So that's kind of one of the things that I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it. How I'm going to build it is the next question. Originally, I was thinking about building a frame out of angle iron or something along those lines. But that would really be expensive, and now what I'm kind of thinking about doing is building the frame work out of wood and just making like shelves out of angle iron and expanded metal that I can throw into it. So I'm gonna still continue to think on it, but it's probably going to be wood with metal angle iron shelves. The shelves are going to be angle iron with expanded metal in the bottom of them that it could be slid out, in and out on wood tracks, or yeah, let's call them tracks. Wood sliders with the shelves would fit into, or the drawers. Let's not call them drawers because they're not going to be drawers. Shelves. And that way I could separate into these individual things the steel. whether it be, again, angle iron or tube steel, or I've actually got a piece of a small chunk of a I-beam there. Things like that. Bring it back. Just as part of maybe a little shop update. Landlord came in this morning and he gave me this stuff. He found it sitting on top of a dumpster at one of his properties, but there's two of them, inch and a quarter pipe slabs. There's a bunch of other ones. I didn't even look and see what they are. That looks like 3/4, 7/8 maybe. No, it's 1 inch. But anyways, just some odds and ends stuff in there. He also brought over, I've got to sell this thing for him, a unit heater. It's in a working condition, so I'll just clean it up, take some photos of it, and throw it on Craigslist. But it's fairly new. Well, when I say new, it's been used, but it's fairly new. One of the other things that I've got going on, I've got this piece of metal that I just went down to the metal supply house, bought, drilled these holes in it, and have painted it. What a friend of mine has got a gooseneck trailer, and the dovetail on the trailer is wood. And when he throws his ramps up, when he's going down the road, the vibration of the ramps bouncing on top of the wood is chewing the wood up. So what I'm going to do is throw that across kind of at an upper contact point of the ramps, just to hold the ramps so that the ramps will rest on the metal, not on the wood, and stop gouging that wood up like that. I got to tell you, it's I would have never bought that style of gooseneck with that wooden ramp. It's great, you know, maybe in the summertime, but if you get it raining and or in the winter time when it gets frozen and icy, you're never gonna get cars up the thing. But anyways, when I put that on, I'll show it to you. I'll just give you a shot of it. I just cleaned off the top of my toolbox. Cleaned it off, actually, just wiped it down. Cleaned off the top, took all of the junk that had gotten thrown on there. In another video, I had talked about flat areas and workbenches becoming a landing spot for junk in the shop, and it happened with the top of the toolbox too. So I cleaned it off. While I was cleaning it off, I wiped down the whole toolbox. My grandson had been sanding a wood project, and there was sanding dust all over it. But that's not why I brought you over here. Why I brought you over here is some people might think that I'm obsessed with tools, but I'll discuss that later. One of the things that kind of annoyed me, well, let me back up here. One of the things that I thought would probably go away was like screwdrivers. And, you know, it became, with ratcheting wrenches and sockets and Torx and Allen sockets, I kind of thought Allen wrenches and screwdrivers would go away. Well, that's not the case. And I have a drawer with screwdrivers in it. Now, the problem is I really don't have enough screwdrivers. I mean, it seems like when you use a screwdriver, a lot of cases you're using a couple of them at the same time. And it happens with a tractor, it happens with the bandsaw, it happens with everything. And I don't like the way this drawer is organized. So one of the things that I did is I use Torx screwdrivers a lot, not only for working on cars, but actually on the lathe. The carbide bits are held into the cutting head with Torx screws. At least on my lathe, and it seems like I'm always using Torx. So have the drawer, actually Craftsman screwdrivers. I don't have anything bad about them. It's just that it seems like I never had the right size or enough of them. So let me show you what I've got. I bought a set of Torx screwdrivers from Mac, and I also bought a set of regular screwdrivers from Mac. Now, that drawer isn't big enough, and again, I don't like the way it's organized. So I was talking to the Mac tool guy. I had bought those strips. You see those magnetic strips are in there that hold it, but definitely not enough room for all of the screwdrivers now. So I was talking to him about it, and the Mac tool guy, and he was coming up with more of these strips, and then all of a sudden he says, wait a minute. I have something on my toolbox in my shop that I think will be great for you in organizing all those screwdrivers and getting them out of that drawer. Now, I'm not really sure what it is. I do kind of know what it is. It's going to be an add-on to the box. At the end of the box, there is going to be a screwdriver holder, a locking screwdriver holder, and I'm going to put all of my screwdrivers into that thing. I'm not going to say that there isn't going to be some left over, but the some left over can probably go into the other toolboxes that I have. But I haven't seen it. Don't know what it is yet. Really, all I know it's kind of an add-on to the end of the box. So I'm going to bring you back and show you. It's not going to be in this video because it won't probably come until Friday, late Friday. So I will, when I get it mounted, I'm presuming getting it mounted, I will bring you back and show it to you and show you what I've done with this drawer. What I kind of think this drawer is going to be is the other thing that I use a lot of is Allen wrenches, and I have a drawer for Allen wrenches, but I don't have enough Allen wrenches either, big size Allen wrenches. Now I do have some socket sets that have Allen wrenches in them. I have Allen wrenches here, and I have a another box, but let me that's larger Allen wrenches, but this drawer might become the Allen wrench drawer. But I'll bring you back and I will talk to you maybe talk to you about my obsession with tools and kind of why I have that obsession. Okay, so this is that bar installed on the trailer. Okay, I'm going to do a voiceover beginning here. I had some people in the shop, my grandson and his father, working on his father's vehicle. Had to replace a bumper, do some brake work. But anyways, here's the strip installed. I used carriage bolts to bolt it down through the timbers on the dovetail portion of the ramp. Zinc coated carriage bolts, and then I just clear coated over it. I thought the chrome or zinc looked good on the black. But then I'm going to show you a clip of it with the ramps down on top of it. There is a gap. You'll notice a gap in the between that strip and the ramp, and that's because the ramps are both twisted, so it's actually only touching that strip on one side. One of the things that I did, I went out to Tractor Supply and I have cabinets that bins that have nuts, bolts, washers, etc. in it. So I was getting low on some sizes. Use a lot of nuts, bolts, washers, everything for fabrication or working on cars, trucks. Use a lot of them, and I go through a lot of varying different sizes. So I just went through, made a list of some of the things that I was a little low on. Didn't want to go overboard on it, but I just picked up some stuff. What I'll do is go through, sort of out through the bags. I separated it into the sizes, but I grouped together like the bolts, different sizes in the same bag, different lengths in the same bag of the same size. But what I'll do is I'll just sit down, go through it, sort it out, and then put them away in the bins. I'm in the shop here and standing in front of my wife's old truck. This is probably going to be the conclusion to the shop update. The reason I'm standing in front of it is because it's still here in the shop. You know, I mean, it's drivable, so if it's taking up the space and I need that space for something else, I just park it outside. But it's in the shop. One of the things that I wanted to throw by some people and maybe get your kind of opinion on it, so leave a comment. I'm kind of still debating on what to do with this truck, and my idea right now is to pull the engine out and possibly sell that engine as a standalone component. Kind of on eBay, if you kind of look at it, it's a 6-liter Vortex engine, and if you look on eBay, they kind of run from $1,600 up to, some of them are actually around $2,900. So my point being is that the truck is in kind of bad condition. The body of the truck is in kind of bad condition. You know, I'm sure that I could sell the truck, but I think I'd probably get more money pulling the engine and selling the engine and just taking the truck to the junkyard, where I could probably get $200 for it for scrap without the engine. So that's that. Probably the end of the shop update. One of the things is I mentioned, another thing that I mentioned was about the tools and my obsession with tools. If anybody wants to hear that story of my obsession with tools, let me know, and I'll post that as a separate video. But this is it, shop update for Wednesday, the December 6th.